Hello, social media. This is Beata Seweryn-Reid, and I'm here every Tuesday at noon with meaningful conversations live. I bring amazing people, amazing change makers, experts that can help you to improve your life, personal life, or your business life. Today, I'm very blessed because, and I'm shaking, seriously, I'm shaking because I have this wonderful person who said yes to my invitation. His name is Scott Aaron, and we're gonna talk about social media cracking the code. Is it really possible? Whoa. First of all, Scott, thank you so much. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing wonderful and just truly grateful and honored to be here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm really honored. And seriously, I'm shaking because come on, man. You are 3 times best-selling author, LinkedIn lead generation expert, speaker, coach, podcaster. I love your podcast.
Thank you.
And with network marketing made simple. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like I'm talking to Steve Jobs or oh my goodness, I don't know. It's how I feel.
I
So thank you
appreciate
so
that.
much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so very much. And let's start at the beginning. What is the story? Because, well, you were born that way. You just loved social media and you had this gift right away. And it's what brought you here where you are?
Well, I'll summarize that in a couple different ways. But what I'll tell you is that from an early age, I always had something. And my mother actually shared a story with me about a year ago. She remembers distinctly picking me up from daycare one day, and I think I was maybe 3 or 4 years old. This is before pre-K and kindergarten, and she got me into the car, and the teacher pulled my mom aside, and she said, "I just got to tell you, there's something very special about your son." And this was at 3 or 4 years old. And again, we all have gifts. My gift was the ability to really create meaningful connection with people. And my entrepreneurial journey began very, very early on. I was around 18 and a half, 19 years old. I started in the health and wellness industry. My father was my first mentor, and he made some bad business decisions in a prior business that he had that landed him in federal prison for 2.5 years. And that was how I actually got thrown into the ring of entrepreneurship. I had to step up as a sophomore in university and college to take over the family business, which was a gym. And this was probably the greatest learning experience for me because, my father did everything he could to teach me everything that I needed to do to run a gym, run a business, manage a team, inspire those around me. But a lot of that, yes, can be taught, but it has to be applied and learned along the way. And that experience in owning and operating 3 different health clubs, becoming a certified personal trainer and nutritionist, but going through some personal challenges, just in a very, very short span. I had to deal with, my father's incarceration, married and divorced 2 times. I did finally meet the woman of my dreams, and we got married earlier this year. Becoming a
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. Becoming a father, having to file for personal bankruptcy at a point in my business journey. But none of those things stopped me. All of those things added fuel to the fire to want to become better. And for me, how social media came into this. So when I started in the health and wellness industry, this was really before the internet. This was 1997, 1998. There was no online anything. You had a website, but that was about it. But in 2013, I started doing network marketing, and that's what spurred the book and the podcast. And I spent about 4.5 years in the industry, became a top leader in the area, made really significant income that allowed me to then move into this different avenue of using LinkedIn, but leveraging social media. But here's the thing. When I stepped into network marketing, it taught me so many valuable lessons, because we all have this notion, and we all have this goal of wanting to impact as many people as possible. And when I saw the ability that social media gave you to connect with people and impact people's lives in a very genuine and authentic way, I literally jumped in with both feet. Where LinkedIn came into the picture was around 2015, early 2016. And I was at a conference, and it was a personal development event. And one of the speakers was bringing all these people up on stage, and they were sharing their success and what they were achieving. And it was coupled with a few things. Number one, he had all these people write down how many conversations they had to have with other human beings, not, some auto-generated anything, not a click funnel, not some sort of email sequence, actual conversations with other people. And the smallest number I saw on there was 7,000 conversations. That's exactly what my reaction was. I was like, wow. I'm like, and I was all in on Facebook at this point. I thought that was the bee's knees. That's where you had to be to grow your business. And then Instagram, and my calendar wasn't reflecting that. I was not talking to people. And if you want to grow any business, I don't care what it is. If your business is revolving around impacting other people and adding value to their life, you need to be on a platform that allows you to do that. One of my first mentors in online business was a woman by the name of Susan Sly. Amazing individual. And she said to me one day, Scott, you have to wake up every single morning, look yourself in the mirror, and ask yourself, how are you going to connect with yourself every single day?
Beautiful.
And it hit me like a ton of bricks, because I started to realize that the business version of me, the business mindset of a health and wellness professional or personal trainer, whatever the business that I was in at that point, they weren't on Facebook and Instagram. I was looking for that business-minded person, and that's what really drew me to LinkedIn. But I remember reading an article in Forbes that was going over the different demographics of the social media platforms. And I jokingly tell this to people all the time that, Facebook is more of a barbecue. That's where people go to hang out, to commiserate, to share their life. Instagram is more of the Bravo TV of social media. It's very fake. It's the highlight reel of everyone's life. It's only the happy, good moments. No one has a bad day. It's perfect all the time. And again, I'm not saying share crappy stories and crappy situations, but be real. But what I love about LinkedIn, it's a global networking event every single time you log on. And why that impacted me so much is because I didn't want to just impact people locally. I wanted to impact people all around the world. But there were 3 specific statistics that really, they were staring me right in the face. And I want everyone that's on here to really take this in. When you are looking to grow an online business, I don't care what platform you choose to use. You can use Facebook, you can use Instagram, you can use LinkedIn, you can use all 3. But there's 3 things that you really need to take a look at. Number 1 is the size of the organic network that you can grow. Now, when you ask yourself that question and you look that you're only allowed 5,000 friends on Facebook, that is the max. And I have to unfriend people every single week to let new people in. It gets a little tiresome. When you look at Instagram, statistically, it has the highest rate of fake accounts to real accounts on all of social media. Now, how I know that, if any of you spend any time on the gram, You will get pitched all the time in your inbox about doing collaborative efforts with posting with people, and I can get you 10 to 15,000 new likes and followers overnight. It's all robot accounts. But LinkedIn allows you 30,000 organic connections. 30,000. So Gary Vaynerchuk actually says it best. He says, your network is always in direct correlation to your net worth. So if you have a small network, you're going to have a small net worth. So for me, in the last 4 years of really spending meaningful time on LinkedIn, I grew my network organically from around 300 plus to nearly 28,000. And my business has absolutely changed because of the law of numbers. The second thing you need to look at is money mindset. Money mindset. Now, the mindset of other people's relationship with money is absolutely essential when you're looking to create revenue in a business. If you're talking to people that see the value in what you do, but they can't afford the service on that platform, you have to start thinking differently. So statistically, between Facebook and Instagram, the average income that someone makes is around $30,000 a year or less. And again, if any of you have spent any time on there and you're looking to grow a business and you're talking about what you do, you hear that objection a lot. I would love to work with you, but I don't have the money.
Right.
Now, LinkedIn, the average income is between $75,000 to $100,000 a year or more on up. So when you're talking to business-minded people that have a healthy and meaningful money mindset, the chances and the opportunity that the business owner has to create revenue in their business is always going to be higher. Now, number 3 is age demographics. So you have to know, where are your people? Now,
That's right.
I'm going to give you kind of like a 2-tier example here. So the clear-cut numbers. Facebook and Instagram, the average age is 18 to 29. So more of the millennial age. Now, if your avatar, whoever, when you're watching this, if your ideal customer and client is of millennial age, they may be on Facebook and Instagram. But if your ideal client avatar is between 30 to 55, which is the average age of someone on LinkedIn, they're probably not spending the time that you want them to spend on Facebook and Instagram because they're on LinkedIn. But here's the other interesting fact. There's around 650 million people globally on LinkedIn. Now, that's only grown. Here's the crazy thing. In the last 12 months, it's gone from 600 million to 650 million. Facebook and Instagram have gone from 3.8 billion to 7 billion. 3.8 billion to 7 billion. So you want to talk about oversaturated, overcrowded, fighting for the attention of the same people. That's what's happening right now on Facebook and Instagram. LinkedIn is an open field right now. It's where people want to connect. But of that 650 million, 12% of them are of millennial age. 12% of them are now of millennial age. So millennials that are looking to do better business are also frustrated with the demographics that you see on Facebook and Instagram, and they are now even moving onto the platform of LinkedIn. So when you really look at the demographics, when you really look at the money mindset that these people have, and when you really look at the available connections, when you really put those 3 things together, it is for success. And what I want everyone watching and listening to understand, do not get sucked into the shiny carrots that you see on Facebook and Instagram, that everyone has this great tip and just do this and you're going to have money falling from the sky into your lap. You have to work for everything that you get. But when you can heighten the quality of the conversation, which is why LinkedIn is my first stop every single day, it will change your business over time.
Wow, wow. I made so many notes that I cannot even, well, probably if I would be in some event, I would not make that many. Well, what stood out to me is how differently you are treating business, that you go there with your heart and meaning. You want to create impact, not just make money, because first relationship, then money. So I love that. I love it. And what else? Oh my gosh, my notes, like, wow, where do I start? Money mindset. What I love when you said that if you deliver value to the group of people and they find value in it as well, but they don't have money, you have to do something differently. I love it. And age and demographics, all is, oh my goodness, thank you so much. And well, basically you answered most of my questions, but let me see. I have so many great friends in here.
I think
And
Priya
they
had a
are
question,
all
I
ready.
think.
Did you see? I'm ready to learn.
Yeah.
Thank you, Aaron. And I have other beautiful people. You can start asking your questions, dear friends and my dear audience. I have one question that I think I did not hear the answer to, and it was from Priya. I mean, you did, but maybe you can reveal a little bit on it. How can we best leverage LinkedIn for lead generation and client attraction?
So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to debunk the whole lead generation thing on LinkedIn, but also Priya had a follow-up question, which is how do you connect with your client avatar? So
Right.
I'm going to go over one of the probably the biggest mistakes that people make on LinkedIn. It's messaging and connecting with that person. So the first thing I want people to understand, if you are being pitched by a marketing service or a lead generation expert on social media, specifically LinkedIn, they're saying, listen, we can get you leads for days. We can get you leads overnight. Listen, my 8-year-old son can generate leads on LinkedIn. That's how easy it is. Where I'm different, I don't just get people leads on LinkedIn. I teach them and coach them how to take the lead and turn it into a meaningful conversation. How to take it from online to offline. How do you get that appointment in the calendar? That's the one big thing. So you can generate leads all day, but how do you connect? As Priya said, how do you connect with that client avatar and book that call? Now, so I created something called the Magic Formula. Now, the Magic Formula is a very simple 3-step process. And again, I know Aaron has his notebook out, so this will be good. He can already write down there. And it's a 3-step process to crafting your own genuine message to get someone on a call. So, when you want to have that quality conversation, you want to message someone and you don't want to do it in a robotic way. You don't want to sell or pitch. You want to do it in this form. Number one, whenever you're messaging someone on LinkedIn, you always start by mentioning their name, which is the most important word in the English language, another person's name. So it could be, hey, Priya, great to be connected to you. Now, the second part of that is what I call bridging the gap or lowering the drawbridge. So for anyone that knows what a drawbridge is, when it's up, it allows the boats to pass back and forth. And when the drawbridge comes down, it allows the traffic to then flow. It's your job to fill that void, fill that gap between you and that person. So connect with people that you have a business relatability to. So I'm going to give you an example. So pretend that I was still an online personal trainer And I had a coaching service that taught other online health and wellness professionals how to grow their business using LinkedIn. So we're going to use this as an example. So, and Priya, I saw, was in the health and wellness space. She was a fitness professional, my ideal client avatar. Now, what I would do is I would, send that message, hey, Priya, great to be connected to you. Now I'm going to bridge the gap. I noticed that you had a health and wellness background, as do I. Would love to hear how everything is going, share what I'm up to, and how we can support each other here on the platform. Now, I've done two things. Number one, I've bridged the gap. I didn't sell her. I didn't pitch her. I created a connection between myself and Priya because when she receives that message and she starts reading it, she goes, oh, well, that makes sense. Scott's in the health and wellness industry. So am I. That's why he's reaching out. But I also used the second most important word in the English language outside of Priya's name, and that is the word support. So from a psychological standpoint, it's been proven scientifically that when someone reads the word support and says it in their head, it triggers a release of a chemical that we produce called oxytocin. This is our feel-good brain chemical. Just like dopamine or endorphins or serotonin or even cortisol, which is our stress hormone. So this individual is feeling good as they're being connected with. The third and final step is you finish with something called a CTA, a call to action. If you just end with a statement, it's going to lead to nowhere. But questions will always lead to answers. So if I just say, Priya, let me know when's good for you. Guess what? She's never going to tell me because I haven't asked.
Right.
But if I said, Priya, do you have any time this week or next week for a call? Now I've specifically asked her, when is she available? And just remember, you have to ASK to GET. You have to ask in order to get. And I do want to go back up real quick. There was a question, what needs to be done once the network is made and the next steps you can let us know. I'm a psychologist. Should I go ahead with planning my services to get deals by connecting with the same souls who are in the same profession? So the best thing that you can do when you have an established network is following, obviously, the steps in connecting with people and having conversations, networking. I follow the principles and the teachings of The Science of Getting Rich. It's a great book by Wallace D. Wattles. The book was written in 1910. And I'm going to say this may be a bold statement, but I'm going to say it. It is the only money mindset book that you need to read. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, Scott, why? Why is that the only book I need to read? Because it was the first one ever written. This book was written in 1910. So every book that preceded it, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, You're a Badass at Making Money, Millionaire Mind, all those books are based off of the teachings and the principles of that book, which says, instead of living in a world of competition and comparison, live in a world of creation and collaboration. So you must create as many conversations and collaborate as often as possible. Now, in regards to having that established network, content is king. Content is king on LinkedIn. And the name of the book is The Science of Getting Rich. It's by Wallace, D as in dog, Wattles. And it's a wonderful book, 110 pages. It is my wife and I, that is like our Bible. We read it as often as we can because there's always a new nugget to take away from it. So when you have an established network, now you want to create content. And if Aaron is still on here, keep your pad and paper going and your pen. So here's what you need to do. If you're going to create content on LinkedIn, there's a couple things that need to be done. Number one, it's not like Facebook and Instagram. So no scandalous pictures, no racy pictures, no boobs and butt, which is what you see on Instagram and Facebook, just trying to get attention. It's not about that. It's providing value. It's informing your audience. It's educating your audience, leaving them better. And you don't have to post every day. That is the truth. You do not have to post every single day. So here's what you need to do. Focus on posting content once on Monday, once on Friday, and once on Wednesday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 3 days a week. Now, there's different types of content that you can post on LinkedIn as far as the form of the content. There's posts, there's articles, which are long form posts, which I always recommend. It's like a blog, and video. Video is number one. So as you guys are watching and listening to this, Facebook had its moment in the sun in 2012. That's when things were really blowing up on that platform. LinkedIn is having a Facebook 2012 moment right now. It's got the highest organic visibility, highest organic reach, and highest organic engagement out of any social media platform out there today, no matter what you read or no matter what people are telling you. It is the facts. Video content is most ideal on LinkedIn. But I know a lot of people get uncomfortable doing video, but if you have to start somewhere and you just aren't going to post, or you're just going to write articles, but I would highly encourage you to at least do one video a week. Monday, do a post. Wednesday, do an article, and Friday, do a video. So post, article, video.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're doing one of two things. Educate your audience on something they need to know within what you do, or inform them on something that has helped you in your business that could help them. Now, what do I mean by that? The problem that a lot of people have on social media right now is they're posting things that they want to talk about. I want to talk about this. And just really quickly, Priya just said, how long should the video be? If you're doing a native video, which means you pre-record and then post it to the platform, I would say most ideal, at a minimum, 30 seconds. Get your point across, get on, get off. Upwards to 90 seconds. So 30 to 90 seconds is ideal. Again, goldfish now have a longer attention span than human beings, so you definitely want to keep that in mind. Now, instead of posting content that is what you want to talk about, which means you're in the driver's seat, I want all of you to pretend that you are in the passenger seat. So pretend you're the consumer. Pretend you're the ideal client. What would you want to see? What would you want to hear? What would you respond with? Because here's the thing, it's the same thing with messaging. Before you send any message to anyone on social media, read it yourself and pretend that you're receiving that message. Would you respond back to it? The same thing when you're providing content. Is it more of a self-serving post, or is it a post where you're looking to just really pour into other people? And this is so important, everyone. I can't stress this enough. The greatest currency that we all have in our businesses is the value that we provide those that we're connected to. The greatest currency that we have is the value of the content of what we're providing on these platforms. It's not the services that we provide. That's just the end result. That's what we're looking to get them to. But the greatest currency is the value that you provide them first. You have to build that know, like, and trust factor. You have to earn the right to offer your services to someone that's interested. And I can't tell you how many people end up hiring me because of just how I show up on LinkedIn. I post infographics all the time. I give tools and tips and statistics and reasons why you need to use it all the time. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to hide. I have everything to give. I have nothing to hide, and I have everything to give. And that's how you guys should be doing this. Hide nothing, give everything. if any of you are familiar with Amy Porterfield,
Yeah.
amazing online marketer. She's just incredible. She has a great podcast. And I remember there was an episode that she did where she was interviewing a LinkedIn expert. And I'm going to put that in air quotes for a reason. So she brings this person on and she started grilling her. You know, questions about LinkedIn. What can people do? How can they use it? And this person wouldn't give up anything. Dodging every question, just being so surfacey, not letting people under the kimono at all. So what does that do? That actually hurts that person's know, like, and trust factor. Because if they're not willing to give anything away for free and all they care about is the mighty dollar that they're looking to get from a customer or client, how authentic and genuine is that person being? And Amy started to see this. So instead, Amy jumped in and she started training on what she knew about LinkedIn so her audience would still be able to take something away.
Wow.
So when you come from a place of service and authenticity and genuineness and love, people can feel that from a mile away. And even when I do my LinkedIn lives, I'm always trying to give people other ways of how they can grow their business, whether they work with me or not. I don't care. I just want to add value to someone's life. And the deeper you go below the surface, and I call it letting people in under the kimono. And Robin Sharma talks about this all the time. If you live in that scarcity mindset, that you're afraid to let people know what you do, giving them maybe a taste of your system or a taste of your program, you're afraid. You're living in that lack mentality, like, oh my God, if I give too much, people aren't going to work with me. It's actually the opposite. The more that you give, the more you're always going to get back.
Oh my goodness. Wow. What I love about you is that what you were just teaching us, give all what you have, and you just gave it all. And actually, this is not just something to listen to, but it's this podcast, this show right now is grab a pen and a paper and learn and then use. So you give it in a practical way. And what you talk about also, authenticity, kindness, and love. And who, like in a business, who talks like that? Oh my gosh. But it's the humanity. And I'm not buying a product. I'm buying a human. I'm buying you. So thank you so much for sharing all this great wisdom with us and practical, actually, tools. So Priya says, so much value. I mean, you see all these comments. Amazing. Service is a key. Any of you have more questions? Because this is the best time to ask. He is right there, right here. He is the new Steve Jobs that he can give it to you right now. So I will have a little bit different question here. It's like breaking the whole teaching mode for a second. We already had once in the back in the time, we had already scheduled conversation, but you couldn't make it. And oh my gosh, I love the reason that you were, again, you were just honest. You said that we have to reschedule because your son asked you to read a book for his class. How old is he?
He's 8.
Yes. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful gift that you gifted your son with.
Thank
so
you.
My question is, what gift did you ever received in, like, the most meaningful gift that you ever received in your life that you want to pass on your son?
Yeah, and there was a couple other questions that
Yeah, we will go back to it.
We're going to go back. And it was interesting because I hate rescheduling and I hate canceling because I have such a high level of appreciation for other people's time, because it's the most valuable commodity we have. The time that we give and the time that we have is the most valuable asset. But for me, I drew a line in the sand. that family always comes first. And my son is only 8 once. And here's where this came from. So, because he's in a hybrid model for school, we're in New Jersey. He goes to school Monday and Tuesday, and then he's remote Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And the day that we were supposed to meet, they basically every week they highlight one of the students in the class, and my son was the star student of the week, and it was a Friday, and basically he was asked to share his favorite person.
Wow.
And he chose to share me. And basically, he said, "Could you read, one of our favorite books to our class?" And so for me, I appreciate that and you sharing that. But the greatest lesson and something that I want to teach and show my son and myself and my wife, we do this, is kindness goes a long way. And it's something that my parents instilled in me. My first book that I wrote was called Good Guys Always Win. And because I was always a good guy, I got bullied and picked on a lot, but I didn't allow that to turn me into a bad person. I used that, my mom always told me, kill people with kindness and always treat people the way that you want to be treated.
Love it.
So, with my son, ever since he was really able to talk, since he's been about a year and a half old, so for the last 6.5 years, every night before we go to bed and we put him down, we always talk about 3 things that we're grateful for. So my wife says what she's grateful for. I say what I'm grateful for. He says what he's grateful for. We've been doing this every night since he was a year and a half. So we talk about instilling certain things in someone's DNA. And the biggest thing that I want to pass to him is that being a good person, being a kind person, being a giving person will always keep you on top. So that's the biggest thing that I want to pass on to him. And someone said, what's your biggest achievement? There's a lot of achievements in my life, but I would say marrying the woman of my dreams and becoming a father. I would say on a personal level, my greatest achievements. I would say from a business standpoint, business achievement, bouncing back from having to file personal bankruptcy just 4.5 years ago to thriving in our business. Because I already had some successful businesses going at the time when I filed for bankruptcy, but there's a lot of people that think that bankruptcy is the end. That is rock bottom. For me, it was actually the launching pad for something bigger. I used that as the time in my life where I could wipe the slate clean. This was where I was able to start writing my new story and my new chapter of not where I was, but where I was going. So I would say that's bouncing back from that bankruptcy, the greatest gift that's ever been given to me. Now, Priya said, how do you up-level your profile? Okay. Now, I do have a free gift. So if anyone, and if you want to put this in the chat box, if anyone email me, scott@scottaaron.net. I have something called a virtual goodie bag. It's just some free resources. One is a way to optimize your profile, where to listen to my podcast, my books. So if you email scott@scottaaron.net, just put in the subject title "free goodie bag," I'll send it to you, and that will enable you to start up-leveling your profile. There's a free download in there.
There was a little bit of a break in your voice. Did you say Scott@scottaaron.net?
Yes. So scott@scottaaron.net. And then Priya also said, what is the one thing that you would do to raise your self-confidence when starting a business? Oh, that's a great question. So, I mean, there's a number of things, but I think the big thing that I would tell myself if I wanted to raise my self-confidence is knowing the worth of the value that I'm providing. Even if it's a new business, everyone has to start somewhere. There's always a first podcast episode. There's always a first day in business. Having the confidence that you know what you are providing is of high value, that's going to change someone's life, it's all the confidence that you need. When you are confident about who you are, what you stand for, and how you want to impact those around you, whether it's day 1 of your business or day 1,000 of your business, that's all you need to know. It's making sure that you are fully confident in what you're providing. And it's scary when you step out there for the first time, not knowing how people are going to respond. But I can absolutely tell you, when you are fully confident in the service that you're providing, there is nothing that's going to stop you from achieving your goals.
And what is the what do we put in the subject line to this email? Because I think
just put virtual goodie bag or online goodie bag or online resources, something like that.
Okay. And yes, everyone loves you. Everyone appreciates you. Oh my goodness. Thank you so very much. Well, what is the best way to contact you? Is it the email that you shared, or is it a website, or where to, except LinkedIn? We know that you are there for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, people can email me. My website, scottaaron.net, has a lot of the resources on there. But additionally, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. Facebook, just search Scott Aaron. I know some people joined my free community. It's called Network Marketing Leads for Life, which is going to switch to LinkedIn Leads for Life. So I'm just changing the name. It's the same group. And then if you're on Instagram, my handle is at Scott Aaron LinkedIn, and I'm very omnipresent on all. I do free trainings on all 3 platforms. So always looking to provide value and would love to connect with each and every one of you.
Yes, and if I can just add, your podcast is amazing as well. And a lot what you are talking today about, you can find also in your on your podcast. I think the very recent one that I listened to, it was predictions for 2021.
5 reasons why LinkedIn will change your business in 2021.
Right. So I would really highly encourage everyone to go and listen to the podcast as well. Aaron, it's Scott. Sorry.
No, it's a Freudian slip. If you count my middle name, which is Robert, I have 3 first names: Scott, Robert, Aaron. So it's so common. It's just one of those Freudian slips. So I totally get it. No need to apologize.
Thank you. What is your last advice or maybe suggestion? Something that would you like to leave the audience with?
Yep. So, well, just to Priya said, where's your podcast? It's on all major platforms. It's on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts. It's called Network Marketing Made Simple. I have 2 episodes a week going out, Mondays and Thursdays. Monday is always a solo training episode. Thursdays is always an interview with an industry leader. And there's around, I just eclipsed 100,000 downloads actually this weekend. So just really grateful for that. There's about 222 episodes now out there. So a ton of knowledge out there for people to dig into. Now, what I want to leave everyone is this. So I interviewed an amazing gentleman by the name of Cody Schuin. He wrote a great book called Your Everyday Legacy. Great book. It's on Amazon. And he was he was a funeral director for almost 2 decades. So he was literally surrounded by death every day of his life. And I read this book. And I said, I got to get this guy on my podcast. I'm like, this book's insane. Because there was one story that he shared in this book that I had to talk about with him on my podcast. So the story goes like this. It was one of his final services that he was doing at the funeral home that he was a director at. And it was for a very, very successful, high-powered Canadian businessman. And when he stepped into the area where the service was being performed, he had never seen a turnout like this for any human being before. I mean, hundreds upon hundreds of people showed up. I mean, standing room only. There was not a space left to pay their respects to this gentleman. So as they're going through the service, everyone is standing up and sharing their thoughts and their feelings and their gratitude for this person. And at the end, he walks up to one of the sons and he said, listen, I've never seen a service like this before. He said, your father must have been just an incredible human being. And he said he was. He impacted a lot of lives, and he goes, this wasn't even a tenth of the lives that he impacted. So then Cody turned to the son and he said, well, what's the greatest advice your father ever gave you? And he said, the greatest advice my father ever gave me was actually shortly before he passed away. And he said, son, don't wait until you're gone for your legacy to be felt. Leave it while you're still living. And when I read that in the book and when he retold the story, I still get goosebumps every time I think about it, because when I thought about the fact that facing my mortality, you know, how do I want my legacy being left? I don't want to wait until I'm gone to have my legacy left. I want to leave that right now. And I'm telling you, when you start thinking about how you want your legacy to be left, you will start living much differently starting today. But he followed that up with a very powerful question, and I want each and every one of you to sit with this. He asked me, he goes, how do you want to be remembered? Now, when you are facing your own mortality, you will start showing up differently. So instead of worrying about all the stupid little things that go on each and every day and all the things that bother us when they shouldn't, think about how you want to be remembered. When you are long gone, what is that footprint that you're going to leave for other people to follow? And I can absolutely tell you, when you start really sitting in with that and you start leaning into it, you will start showing up differently.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Thank you so very much. It is so inspiring. Priya said powerful, and people are saying that it's just amazing, and we are all thankful for what you just share with us, especially me, because I was so nervous about interviewing you. And like, oh my gosh, he's such a big name and expert. But like you said, authenticity, kindness, and love, it's what I'm getting from you, and it's what I want to also leave our audience with. How do you want to be remembered? Scott asked. So people, it's this magical time of the year when we all have to ask ourselves that question. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with me. Thank you for joining and listening and tuning in, asking all these questions, because it's for you. This show is for you. And I was so blessed having this amazing human with me today. And I highly encourage you to reach out, to check his website, to check his podcast, and simply start the conversation, because he can take you places, I promise. And everyone is saying, thank you, Scott. I'm joining. Thank you. And I hope you will be back with more golden nuggets, wisdom, and your presence, because your presence is, I think, what is really inspiring. And yeah, great episode. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for the great information. Thank you so much. Yeah, we can say thank you till tomorrow. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And I really, please come back, because
I will.
Your words and your inspiration matters. Everyone who is with us today, please share this episode with your friends, family, because it was really powerful. And today we need it, especially entrepreneurs, because we are stuck sometimes. We don't know Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, like what we do. And here you go. We have all like on the silver platter right here served what to do next. Have a wonderful day. See you next week, Tuesday at noon, Meaningful Conversations with Beata. To find out more about me, you can just go to my website. It's BEATA lifecoaching.com, beatalifecoaching.com. Scott, God bless you. Thank you so very much. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, everybody.